Alright guys, welcome to the Ultimate Plate Discipline Guide. We are here playing the Yankees on Legend. Basically, what I want to go through today is, as much as possible, everything that we can get into about plate discipline, why we do it, how you do it, and just trying to progress and increase your skill in plate discipline as we go on. That's the first thing I wanted to mention, that I think plate discipline is a skill. And I think that it's something that you can learn, you can develop. It's not just something that either you have it or you don't. And I think I'm an example of that. I'd say the first like 4 or 5 years I played this game, just swung at everything, because I could make contact and get hits and get home runs and everything. But I think this year is a little bit different in that it's a lot harder to get hard contact with these power hitters and everything. As we play the game, I'll get into some of the tips and exactly what to do as the game goes on, why we're doing it and things like that. And the first thing I want to do is go to my opponent's bullpen. When you take a look at their bullpen, they've got 4 guys that are 80 or above, so that's a decently solid bullpen on the back end, and a couple of decent guys at the top end as well. When I'm talking about plate discipline, which is look at their bullpen, and the reason being is that when you are taking a lot of pitches, you're trying to get the starter out of the game, especially if he's a really good starter, but you also want to make sure that the other person doesn't have a loaded bullpen, which right now you might get some guys that are have some weak bullpens, but as we go on, the bullpens are going to get pretty loaded, so it's not as important later on. But right now you want to know that if you're getting the starter out in the 5th inning, then you're going to have a tough bullpen to deal with, or an easy bullpen to deal with. Which is why, when I start playing this game, I know that CC Sabathia is on the mound. He's like a 72 overall, and the bullpen's pretty good, which means I'm not trying to force the starter out. I'm trying to force him to make bad pitches and hit him, rather than trying to get him out to face the bullpen. So that's really the first thing you want to do. You want to evaluate their pitching staff. Pitchers aren't as good as you may think they are. Even at the higher levels, you know, maybe like 5 to maybe 1% of the pitchers are really, really good and can hit their spots all day, and they are going to beat you with their pitching. The rest of these people in online, they're just going to try to beat you at whatever issues you have with your own hitting and plate discipline. That's how they beat you. They don't beat you because they locate on the corners every single time. They beat you because you swung at the bad pitch that he knew you were going to swing at, so he threw it. So what you want to try to do is force them to make the bad pitch and not swing at their waste pitches. Another thing that plate discipline helps you out with is when that starter gets tired, you're going to get like that 80 pitches point, and his breaking ball is going to stop snapping as much. Alright, so the final thing that you want to do starting off a game is to also scout your opponent if possible. It's not right now, but later on, hopefully it will be once it's on the Show Nation. So let's talk about some of the tangible things that you can do to increase your plate discipline, and not just kind of the theory of why we want to do it. Of course, we said that we want to try to get pitches over the middle of the plate, hittable pitches in your strike zone. So let's say maybe you don't want this inside this middle of the plate, but you know this guy throws a lot of stuff inside. If you saw my previous video, this pitch right here is really hittable if you're sitting on it. So you may not be sitting in the middle of the plate, although it's the easiest thing to hit, but you want to be able to get your pitch, and working the count is how you do that. And basically, you do want to take some early pitches in the count. That's just basic baseball. A lot of this stuff I'm going to say is basic baseball, but the way that you can implement it into your game is obviously a lot easier said than done. So that's what I'm going to try to give you some extra tips. So first of all, I don't want to swing at stuff that's right on the corner. So basically what I'm doing is I'm shrinking the zone when I have the advantage or when it's early in the count. So I don't want to move my PCI too much early in the count. So what I'm doing now is I see that I have a 1-0 count with 1 out. Brian McCann, and I've got the pitcher up next. Yeah. In this situation, I might not get as much to hit, especially online. Although it is a bases loaded situation, which makes it a little bit different. Usually if it's like 2nd and 3rd, you're going to get walked, so it doesn't really matter. But here, he is being very, wild a little bit. Could have swung at that, but I obviously score a run if I get a walk. So either way, it's good. And I'm just looking for that pitch right there. And like I said, this is on Legends, so if you can do this, you can hit anybody. Alright, so like I said, you don't want to swing at these corner pitches early in the count, especially since this year, these low pitches, that's a bad pitch to swing at. This right here, it's a lot easier to pop things up and hit the ball on the ground. You don't want to do that. So if you're sitting down here, that's okay. But adjusting downwards, like instead of actually getting down here, a lot of times with a good fastball, you're going to only get that far with your PCI. So being able to try to use the middle of the zone in your mind. So when I say shrink the zone, what you're doing is in your mind, I'm saying, all right, I see my PCI, and I'm not really moving it much. I'm going to go here or here, and I'm not going to go all the way to anywhere else. So that was kind of inside, but you see that there is a little bit of a gap between where the ball lands and the corner, which means it's definitely a hittable pitch. I saw a breaking ball. As soon as I saw it breaking, I knew I didn't want to swing at that. Talked about shrinking the zone, trying to get something over the middle, not moving the PCI too much early in the count. The next thing you can do, especially if you're facing a really good starter with a weak bullpen, or he has some really tired bullpen guys that he just overused in the last couple of games, and you know that you can get to his bullpen and you're trying to get the starter out, what you can do is just take until 2 strikes. And I saw someone do this against me like 3-4 years ago. They took to 2 strikes for the entirety of the first time through the lineup. So the first 9 guys, or like the first 3 innings or something like that, he took to 2 strikes every single time. And by the end of those 3 innings, I probably had like 60 pitches thrown or something. Because you're going to throw at least 5 pitches, probably. You're going to average at least 5 pitches if you're just taking to 2 strikes, because sometimes he's going to try to make you chase. He's going to foul stuff off. So taking to 2 strikes can get you to that high pitch count very quickly. And honestly, when I do this, it's my win percentage is like crazy high. It's probably in the 90s. It's probably honestly in the 90s. This is playing on probably in that range of trying to get from championship to World Series. And it's just insane how well this works. Alright, so I don't strike out too much, and the reason is because I don't actually get deep into counts. So if you get deep into counts, you're going to strike out more. But that's okay. So I'm actually thinking that striking out more for this year for me is what I'm going to try to do actually. So of course when I'm at 2 strikes, I'm going to try to foul off a couple pitches, get a base hit. But the point is to strike out more because it'll be a product of getting deeper into counts, and I think that's going to help me a lot. So when you get deep into counts, obviously you also have a chance to take walks, get on base. It doesn't help as much, I'd say, in getting your pitch, because you're probably going to take 2 fastballs over the middle at some point in the at-bat, just the way that people pitch and make mistakes. So you're going to end up giving up a lot of hittable pitches and end up just kind of swinging and missing at bad pitches at the end of the at-bat. That may happen to you, and that's okay if you're trying to run the pitch count up. So if you don't want to do that, obviously you are trying to get runs. Like I said against CC Sabathia, I'm not trying to get to their bullpen, I'm trying to hit him, right? So look at that, he's at 81 pitches in the 4th inning. So that's actually amazing. But I am trying to hit him. So what I want to do now is sometimes I want to take the 2 strikes. Maybe I'll do that with someone that I'm not as confident hitting with. Or let's say if a lefty comes up and he has bad splits against left-handed pitching, then I want him to go to 2 strikes, foul some pitches off, just have a good at-bat. But then the next batter, maybe someone who's really good against lefties, like Ian Desmond's actually good, 86 and then like 80-something power or 70-something power against lefties. So when he comes up, maybe I'll just swing at the first pitch and try to get, if he saw that I took to 2 strikes, let's say I've been taking to 2 strikes for like a couple innings, let's say he sees that I'm not swinging at anything, then I come back with that right-handed hitter who's good against the lefty, and I swing at that first pitch, and maybe it's a meatball because he's just trying to get pitches over now that he knows that I'm not swinging. So that's really the next thing that you want to do. Now we got to their bullpen, and because it's so early, they can't use the back end of their bullpen. Remember, we saw at the beginning of the game, they've got a bunch of guys at the back end that are really good. Then we got a couple guys at the beginning who are hittable. And because we got them out so early, we're able to get to those guys that aren't as good early on. So that is something that you want to look into. If you can get them out in 4 innings, that's amazing. You do want to make sure that you're keeping the pitcher guessing. So you took the 2 strikes, now he's looking for you, he's trying to get pitches over at the beginning of that bat. Then you mix it up. You get to a guy that has good splits, and you jump on the first pitch. And then maybe the next batter you go back to taking the 2 strikes. So you kind of mix it up. Don't let him throw that fastball over the middle, and that's going to help you out a lot. Another thing I see people doing a lot is, and I've done this a lot as well, take a lot of pitches in the first inning. They'll actually like walk 2 guys, and then maybe they'll hit into a double play or something, and then they lose confidence. And then after that, they swing at every single pitch the rest of the game, and I'll end up with like a 50 pitch complete game or something like that. And that just should never happen. So if you start out the game patient and the guy is walking you, make sure he walks you the rest of the game too, and don't let him off the hook. All right, another part of mixing it up is also trying to use different approaches for a different type of hitter. So let's say if you got or even the situation. So if you got a contact hitter, power hitter, speed hitter, for instance, for a contact/speed hitter, it doesn't matter how hard you hit it because you're probably not going to hit a home run anyway. So you can try to work the count even more and more and more, and just like put the bat on the ball, hit a dribbler to third, and you'll probably get on base. The fact that you got like 7 pitches out of that bat is huge. That power hitter, maybe you take that first pitch and you try to deposit it in the left field seats if you got that like meatball coming in, but you don't want to swing at bad pitches like that. That's not necessary. You shouldn't be swinging at that unless you're sitting on it. That's a good pitch. That's another thing. So when I was talking about striking out a lot, that's one pitch that you can try to concede sometimes. So if he's like throwing a lot of waste pitches and he happens to hit the corner like very nicely at some point, it's not bad to go down looking at that situation, because it's going to open up, let's say, especially on 3-2 counts, let's say he hits the corner on a nice pitch. It's unlikely that he's going to hit the corner on a nice pitch every single time. So maybe you struck out that one time, but the fact that you don't swing at it next time, you get 2 walks for the cost of 1 strikeout. You know what I mean? So you're kind of playing the long game, and kind of playing the percentages, and just waiting over time to see what happens. By the way, I don't know if I've really mentioned this much, but like I said, you're trying to get balls and strikes, right? You're trying to figure out what's a ball, what's a strike. And that really comes down to practice. It comes down to talent. Some people have it, some people don't. It is something you can work on, but it takes a little while. And it's really just a matter of playing games and really being conscious of it. So if you're able to just kind of naturally see what's a ball and a strike, or practice, that's obviously going to be a big part of this. But really, it's your approach that is the skill. The thing that's really something you can develop and game plan for, and like use your mind, your baseball IQ. So one of the other things, now that they're starting to get their good pitchers in, what you can do is just eliminate parts of the plate, right? So look at this, he's throwing 3 pitches inside. Right now, I know he's a good pitcher, and I'm looking inside somewhere. I'm going to let the outside pitch go, and I'm going to look inside. Now, on 2 strikes, obviously I have to fall over the plate, and I'm going to have to adjust and try to foul that one off. Earlier in the count, of course, I'm going to try to stay on that inside and fool me with a changeup. But so let's do this again. So I'm going to look inside. I know he's a good pitcher. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look outside, because I know he's got his cutter, and if he throws his cutter on the inside, he's probably going to break my bat. So I'm going to look outside, and I do this a lot with cutter guys, especially Dellin Betances. He always wastes me. So I've started looking on the outside half against these cutter guys. And that's really just eliminating half the zone. You can look up or down, you can look away, and really, if I wasn't talking, I probably would have hit that for a home run. But looking for that outside pitch, I know that ball is going to just kind of tail. If he throws it on the outside, it's going to either be where I'm looking, or it's going to fall over the middle of the plate where I can adjust to it and probably get a really good swing on it. So when you're looking at half of the plate, see that's on the inside. If I had tried to adjust from the outside to the inside, maybe it wouldn't have worked out as well. And if it had been a cutter and I had been looking inside, that would have busted me. The other thing is when you're looking on the outside half, or one of the halves up or down, in or out, you're also able to really see what's going to be a strike or not. And really you just want to concede when you know you have a weakness, or you know the other person has a strength, a pitcher's really good or something, you're going to have to concede something. That allows you, when he makes a mistake, or when he throws something just where you're looking for it, then you're going to be able to turn on it, make something happen with it. The better the pitcher is, the more you're going to have to concede. So let's say when you're facing Chapman, you know he's got 3 pitches, fastball, slider, changeup, and he's got that crazy fast fastball, probably 102 in this game, and you know that you probably can't hit all of them. So what you really want to do is try to sit on one of them. Let's say I'm only going to swing at the fastball, inside and up, because that's probably where he's going to throw it a lot of the times. If he throws a changeup before 2 strikes, that's fine. I'm not going to swing at it, even if it's, you know, kind of hanging around somewhere down here. That's not what I'm looking for, and I'm going to concede it, because I know he is 100% going to throw a fastball up and in, which is when I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to hit it. So the better they are, the more you have to concede, and really you're just trying to get your pitch. That's what plate discipline is really all about. And the last thing I really want to get into is being able to use the whole field. You saw my last home run with Hoskins. I hit it the other way. And some of the power hitters, obviously, you can hit the other way. But for the most part, it's not like 17 where you could hit, you know, with 60 power, you could hit opposite field home runs all day. This year, you got to really have 80 to 90 power if you're going to hit opposite field power. But that doesn't mean you can't hit to the opposite field. So if you're looking to use the whole field, that actually allows you to see the ball a lot longer. You'll try and hit it to right field, trying to get base hits. So we're not trying to hit for power to the opposite field. We're trying to get base hits to right field, just like that. The more you're able to use the whole field, the more you're able to see the fastball for a longer period of time, the more you're able to adjust to other pitches. So if you're trying to take a fastball to right field, you're able to pull a changeup, you're able to pull a breaking ball, something off speed, and really it opens up the entire field for you. We talked about developing the skill, taking to 2 strikes, mixing it up, really practicing on your own and trying to just develop your vision. And by the way, playing Challenge of the Week has really helped me, especially with plate vision, not necessarily discipline, but avoiding strikeouts, putting the bat on the ball with 2 strikes. That has been huge. And now let's just talk about this for a sec. All right, it's a 7-3 game. We're playing on Legend, and he's been throwing pitches in and out. The pitchers haven't been as good. It was CC Sabathia to start, but their bullpen's decent. The fact that I have 7 runs and struck out as many times as I did on really bad strikeouts really shows you how effective plate discipline is, because I've been, distracted. I've been talking the whole time, which I'm not used to just yet. But with that distraction, with striking out as many times as I have, it still allowed me to have 7 runs. We got CC Sabathia out of the game after 4 innings. A couple innings where we had timely home runs, using the whole field, mixing it up, not just taking the 2 strikes every single time or swinging at the first pitch every time. So if this video helped you out, make sure you drop a like, drop a subscribe, check out some of the other videos. I had a little basic video on zone hitting. If you have any questions, let me know. We're just trying to improve discipline and trying to get your pitch is the most important part. And I really like 18 compared to 17. It feels a lot more like baseball. You really have to have your IQ down. You have to be able to implement a game plan. You can't just swing at everything once you get to the higher levels. And I'm really liking that about 18. So hopefully this is helpful, and I'll see you pretty soon. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like it, hit like and subscribe. If you want to see something new or have a specific part of the game you want help with, be sure to leave a comment and we'll all try to help out.